Vortex, I've been doing comedy a lot. This is good. I need to stay on this path. It's really hard for me to keep up something that I know is good for me. Anybody else? I know a lot of people have a problem with that. And the reason why that's so hard is because the devil is constantly gnawing at you. He's chipping away at your conscience. That's what he does best. So the part of you that's of God, the good part of you that wants to be better, the good part of you that wants to get out and exercise and not sleep in, but, you know, force yourself to do things that are uncomfortable because you know that you'll be a better person as a result. That comes from God and only God. The devil doesn't want you to do that. The devil wants you to stay fat. The devil wants you to keep watching TV. The devil wants you to keep eating really bad things for you. You know, a lot of people, they talk about, like, you know, like, fast food makes you fat and gross. But, you know, they really don't talk about other aspects of it, like it robs you of your energy. You feel like shit. You're more likely to keep making bad decisions. They need to talk about the bigger picture of all these bad decisions that people make. You know? Like abortion. Abortion is a really terrible thing all the way around. And it's not just terrible for the fetus that's being sucked out, okay? Honestly, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I think that the fetus being sucked out is the least of it. Because if you look at, think about it like this, and I'm an illegitimate child, okay, so I can say this. That's like a one-time deal, okay? I'm not justifying it, but I'm saying that once it's over, it's over. That baby no longer has to experience any kind of pain and suffering or whatever. But the two people that were supposed to have the child are going to experience that, whether or not they acknowledge it. And I think that it's one of these things that women internalize because they think that they're supposed to feel good about having an abortion. They think that it's been normalized. It's been normalized and destigmatized in our society. So women think that they're not going to feel bad about it, which is just ridiculous. You're killing a little part of yourself, sweetheart. A little part of you that God gave to you, and you rejected it. And that's really, really sad. I don't just cry about it because of me. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't even want to be here. And I know plenty of orphans that have that sentiment, you know? They internalize that because they know that they're supposed to be grateful that their mom chose life, but they're not. Because we'll always be rejects. Like, even if we get adopted, you know, we'll always be rejects. It's like, how do you accept that? How do you accept that your mom doesn't want you? On Thanksgiving Day! I was born on Thanksgiving Day. I guess that's why I do comedy now. Because it's kind of funny. But, you know, that's why I made so many bad decisions in my 20s. Because I'm the black sheep of my adopted family. And So I did nothing but piss off my parents, who are like boomers and rhinos, and you know, they just do whatever they're told to do. And you know, from I think the age of like maybe 9 or 10 to like the age of 31, I finally patched things up with my father when I turned 31. But before that, for like 20 years, I hated my dad. Because I thought he hated me. So that was my rebuttal. Sorry, we're dealing with things now, okay? We're having breakthroughs. This isn't a breakthrough, we're like schizo, so this is probably gonna happen at least 17 more times in the next hour. But yeah, I wish I could talk to women, like, because there's so much hate towards women, and I understand that. That's why I'm cutting back on the misogyny, mainly because it doesn't help anything. I'm all about, you know, constructive criticism, and you know, females, they grow up in a world that teaches them that they're a victim, all because they're female, all because they have a menstrual cycle, they're a victim. If you're a victim of anybody, it's Eve, sweetheart. But if they live in a Western country, they are bombarded with all kinds of chemicals on a regular basis that are jacking up their hormones even more. They're bombarded with this horse shit that they need to be educated, and they need to prove themselves, okay? And I know so many women. I actually watched a female do comedy, or whatever it was. True. Yes, very, very true. Yeah, about a month ago, she was talking about how she was in law school to, like, prove to her dad that, like, women can do that. It's just so sad. She had blue hair. Dating some, like, 250-pound dude that was all feminine and shit. And you know that she's on birth control. It's like, I don't like how these judgments are always correct. I would much rather be wrong about women. I would much rather them not act like this modern Western stereotype, but it is very, very accurate. But you know, I was that. I all the things that people on the right make fun of in relation to women, I was totally that, like, in my early 20s. But it was mainly because I was schizo. It wasn't because of politics. You know, I will say that I was a little brainwashed because of politics, but, you know, I had my conservative friends, because, you know, I wasn't that liberal that I couldn't associate with people that weren't liberal. But, you know, they tried to pull me aside and tell me, like, you're not liberal, dude. Like, you're too logical. Liberals win people over with the empathy crap. Okay? Empathy isn't crap, by the way. But what liberals call empathy is. Because they really don't have empathy. They want to pretend that they do. And Republicans don't have it either. Republicans make it obvious they don't have empathy. The only people that Republicans pretend that they have empathy for is babies in the womb. And while that's all well and good, if you don't understand the culture that is convincing women to do that, then you're not going to solve any problem. All that everybody does is call each other names. Have you noticed that? That's all they do. They call each other names and they tear each other apart. I don't think you're doing that for anybody else's benefit. I think you're doing that for you. And it really doesn't benefit you because every single time that you do that, it hurts you too. But I was watching my videos, like the ones that I'm attempting to put on TikTok. I am an angry girl. But I feel like I'm angry for the right reason. I feel like there are things about this world that are just so terribly predictable. And it's like the same shit every single generation. It's just a different version of the same crap. And so it's just frustrating to live in a world that is just always shitting itself, It's so depressing. But I know that I'm definitely an acquired taste. It's so funny. I said that on stage, and Brittany, my friend who's like liberal, I need to stop calling her liberal because she's a lot smarter than that. But she's the one I've gotten into a lot of arguments with about Trump. She told one of our rookies at Steak and Shake, she's like, Amy's an acquired taste. Sometimes it takes a while. It's true. I'm really skeptical of people that like me immediately. Now, the only person that... Well, actually, I take that back. I think Ronit and Brad, they were in a video that I recently put up where they were singing to each other. They were doing a little love song about how everybody thinks that they have sex, but they just hang out all the time and smoke weed. But like, when I met them, you never forget when you first meet somebody, that you really, really get on with. But, it's like we just understood each other, There was this deep understanding that we had. Go on, baby, go on. There was this deep understanding that we had of each other's existence. And I think that comics really have that, if they're doing it for the right reason. Whereas, a lot of people that like any artist is going to recognize another artist, because there's this sense of humanity that's like way more prevalent in artists than non-artists. Okay, and I know that sounds a little like pretentious, but it's true. Like, an artist is going to have more empathy than a non-artist, because the pain that inspires us to create, it is going to be a lot more obvious to us, but we know what to do about it, versus everybody else in society that just pops a pill because they're sad. Like, I just read yet another article about somebody coming off antidepressants. Look, I'm sorry if I seem like I'm really harsh towards, I feel really bad for anybody on antidepressants, because I know the truth about them. And I've known the truth about them, and I didn't have to read it. I didn't have to watch a bunch of, like, informative videos from Peter Bregan about, like, we love Peter Bregan, okay? God bless Peter Bregan. God bless Thomas Oz. I know that he was a secular Jew, but the work that he put in to inform the public about the dangers of psychiatry, not just psychiatric medication, but psychiatry in general, mental institutions, the stigma of mental illness, okay? It blows my mind that so many people, like, they don't do their research on this stuff. And then they get hooked on something that they didn't have to get hooked on. If they would have just taken a walk, they'd realize, you know, this is all I need right here. Some exercise and some me time. Like, me time that makes sense. Not, you know, I'm gonna go to the spa. Like, why do you do shit like that? I need to take a spiritual cleanse. I hate people like that. I absolutely hate people like that. I spiritually cleanse myself every time that I take the Divine Liturgy. And I'm not saying that that's the only way to do it, but it's really the only way that actually works. I mean, I can tell you that there's been a significant change in the way that I look at things. Like, since I've been taking the blood of Jesus Christ. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think it's ridiculous. They think, you know, well, that's just supposed to be metaphorical, and, you know, y'all take that way too seriously. Of course we take it seriously. It's biblical. I'm not going to go into it, but I just don't have time. I got to go to work. Because that's a long conversation right there. But, there's a reason why the Last Supper is the Last Supper. Okay? We get to experience that. And I don't understand why people wouldn't want to experience that if they have the opportunity, because it's an experience. It really is like being on LSD or something. I mean, every single time that I'm at church, like, it's like I'm tripping. But that's probably because of the schizophrenia, but I don't care. I mean, I'll be open and honest about that. I mean, that's like a trope. You know, people call themselves schizo whenever, you know, they have an experience that people don't understand. Or they start talking in a conspiratorial fashion. You're like, I'm schizo, don't mind me. That's really annoying because they don't have any concept of what that really means. But, you know, I'm used to people making ignorant statements. It's fine. But there definitely is, like, religious schizophrenia, you know, like, I guarantee you, every single prophet, every saint, and not just Christian prophets, but, you know, Muslim prophets, and, well, any kind of prophet, really, you know, they're going to be called crazy. Why wouldn't they be called crazy? Like, we live in this world full of a bunch of plebeian sheep that believe in taking advice from their psychiatrist, who's essentially a drug dealer, okay? Psychiatrists are worse than drug dealers because at least you know when you go to the dope man's house what you're buying into. You know that heroin's addictive. You know that crack cocaine is addictive. You know that crystal meth is addictive. You don't know that Zoloft is addictive. That is malpractice.